That's right. A hero can't save us.
A Zaki can save us.
Oh.
Remember when Chad Kroger was good?
No.
No.
No. Corey DLG here with Nerd Thug Radio.
And we accidentally stumbled on this good song.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
I'm here with Nico DLG,
Hey, guys.
producer at large, and special guest referee today, the Zach Attack.
Hey.
You can hear us on 104.5, 106.1, which I assume is what you're doing right now. Or you're listening to the podcast on IrelandStar.com, or on NerdThugRadio.com, or on Facebook.com.
Or you're watching this delightful video on YouTube.com/NerdThugRadio.
Oh, I believe it's pronounced YouTube.
Oh,
The Y is soft.
my apologies.
Yeah, it's YouTube.
I'm not familiar with the internet.
If you're Espanoli, it's YouTube. Yeah, it's youtube.com. Yeah. So those are
I
words.
don't believe that's correct, but okay.
Youtube.com is obviously Spanish for moving photos.
No one asked you, Nico.
All right. Yeah.
No
believe
one
you.
cares what you think is correct.
You'll know when we need your opinion because we'll give it to you.
Yeah. Speaking of Nico's opinion.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's right. This is your whole moment.
This is my
Capture and own it. Mom spaghetti on the sweater already.
Be the shining beacon on the hill, brother.
Yeah. This is the Nico segment. For those who don't know, you're not supposed to be listening to this. That's why we're going to let him talk.
It's where we work out the kinks.
Right.
Yeah. Any sound issues we have, we kind of try to get it smoothed out during the segment.
Right. If there's a new poison we want to try, we just haven't tried during the segment. Anyway, go ahead.
Yes.
So I have a kind of theory on here about main characters in stories.
Okay.
Okay.
So a lot of times a main character is like there's like one or two things, like one of two ways that I often see it. It's like either them being like completely blank slates, or you can like self-insert, kind of like video game character.
Theory. Yeah. Okay.
They're like blank slates. That doesn't make them necessarily a good character because they can have no development. It's completely derived from yourself. And there's other times where the character is proactive and they have motivations and goals outside of your control.
So
You're talking about in a video game?
You're talking about
Yeah,
in video
strictly? Okay.
video games.
Yeah. Okay. That's what
Because you could almost expand this. But,
You think so?
But we can focus on video games and we can comment.
Yeah.
Go on.
So my personal opinion is that I like blank slate characters, but I always enjoy characters that are more proactive and have personalities outside of they're the hero, be them.
But isn't that sort of like, I don't know, like if you play a video game, you want an interactive experience, so you don't want the character telling you what to do. You want to do what you want to do, right?
But that's counterintuitive to what you like about Dungeons and Dragons, right? You build this character, yeah, but this character, based on what you have built, can only do these certain things, understanding that, like, this is what this character's traits are.
But what's interesting in the Dungeons and Dragons aspect is that we then enter a bigger world, and my guy has to survive it based on his own limitations.
Right.
So to me, that's exciting because
that's a predefined character.
No,
he has specific traits that he is. Maybe your character's a showboat and he likes to show off.
Right.
Be super flashy.
You may have created that character, but it's not a blank slate every time you interact with it.
He has predetermined things.
Because I've now created these things
Yes.
for him.
Right.
Okay, all right.
What would be, so video game wise, what would be an example of you said blank slate, and what was the other term you used for the other one?
Kind of someone who's proactive and has motivation.
Okay, so what's your example of that kind? Not blank slate.
So Darksiders, not a very popular game, but it was actually really enjoyable.
Actually, it's very heavily tied to comic books. Joe Madeira did all the design work for that.
Really excellent designs, by the way. That game's beautiful.
And made a ton of money off of it, too.
Yeah. Then they went bankrupt.
Yeah, that's true.
But that game, there's a motivation for the character. He's trying to clear his brother's name, who is wrongfully about to be executed. So he goes on his adventure where you control him, and you guide him throughout this adventure, and you can do all the little side quests and stuff. But his main motivation never changes, and the decisions that he makes that are out of your control are completely tied to his goals, and not necessarily something that you change.
But what? Okay, so what video game isn't there a predefined? This is the goal of the game,
right?
Like, because even if you go back as far, Mario.
The goal is to rescue the princess, no matter what you choose to do.
Like, there are certain things that Mario's always going to do. So is Mario a predetermined character too? Or sorry, not predetermined, but a self-motivating character.
Right. I wouldn't. But he's not. But he's not a blank slate. Like, you are not Mario. That's
what I'm
Mario.
saying. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So what would be a blank slate character?
You're saying like the characters like in Zelda. You said Zelda the other day. It was a blank slate.
Link, where like the only traits he has is like being the hero. Where like you could replace Link with yourself, and that would be nothing would change in that scenario.
I don't know. I don't look as good in the tights.
But Link still has a definite goal.
Right.
Like, you only determine how he reaches his goal.
But like you couldn't choose to not.
Right.
Save.
You can't make it to the boss.
I guess
you can't make it to the boss and decide to be friends with
I
him.
guess it's more of
Right.
he's just a bland character. I think more of a blank slate would probably be like someone like Commander Shepard
Yes.
from Mass
The
Effect,
Mass Effect.
where he's
You
the
make-
one
you
make
make
his
every
decisions.
decision. Yeah.
Like you choose if he's a good guy or a bad guy, if he's rude to people, if he saves somebody. Like that would be a blank slate.
See, but I love those games more.
But
Right.
that again, that offers a kind of a different experience where it's not necessarily
And
it's
that's
narrative driven, but it's again, it's a lot of it comes from your interactions with other characters, not necessarily
Right, and that's something I think would be relatively new to video games, a blank
Yeah.
slate
It is,
character,
it
right?
is,
Like, because
it
how
is.
could you have that any other time?
Really, Mass Effect was one of the first times where it was so
Well, that was when it was handled just so well.
much of the video game was driven by your decisions.
Right.
Like they've had video games before where they're like, you decide the outcome, and really you don't.
That's kind of a thing that's kind of exclusive to RPGs because I know the old Knights of the Old Republic game.
yeah.
Like you were Darth Revan. That was the big reveal at the end.
Right.
But you made your decisions throughout the adventure and who you befriended and like
Right.
if you were a good or bad guy.
Except no matter what happened at the end, you're gonna be Darth Revan.
Yeah, but that was more of a ooh
Right.
kind of like
But-
you're an important lore figure. You're not just Jedi off the street.
Right, but you're not really a blank slate if at the end, no matter what you do, you're gonna be
Yeah,
this
you
guy.
can't end up being a Jedi.
Right, you can't escape your fate.
The decisions that are presented to you are false choices, right?
Right.
Like, do you kill this guy now or do you kill him when he's not paying attention later?
Right,
Like,
because
that's a
either way,
false choice.
you're gonna kill him.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a false choice fallacy.
The
it's called.
game
You should look
dis-
up logical fallacies on Wikipedia. It's
What do I do?
a super interesting read.
There's a game Dishonored where you have
Yes.
two different ways to play the game. You could kill as few and as infrequently as possible, or you can literally kill everyone between you and each goal. And the game reflects that in how they talk about your character in the streets.
It
and
also
how
it
they
also
represent-
affects the world directly.
right, like
Because
levels
the
of
more like
security and
not only that, but like the world will slowly get like more corrupted and like creepy as you go on if you kill more people.
Right.
There's also a way to completely go through that game without killing a single person.
But
Right.
you know what? Even that, though, there's still only two ways that it can go.
Yeah,
right?
no, you're
Right.
you're not
I think
wrong about
I
that.
think if you're truly looking at when is a game a blank slate, and let's call it a game instead of a specific blank slate character. It's games like Sims
Yep.
or World of Warcraft.
Minecraft.
Minecraft is a blank slate game. Anything where you even like those games you play on your iPad where you build up your little city and mine your gold and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those are blank slate games.
Right.
There's no determination of here's where you're going to be, here's when the game is beaten, here's when it's over.
Correct.
Even like SimCity, like when you used to like regular straight up SimCity,
That was
like
a fun game.
you started with a literal blank slate, like, and then when you looked at SimCity 3000, where you not only it was a blank field where your city was, but like you got to determine like the planet layout itself.
Right.
Those to me are more interesting games, but it's much harder to do with us when you're an actual character.
Yeah, like anytime you create an action game,
You can't put Dungeons and Dragons into a video game.
right,
Yeah.
That it can't be done.
right,
The programming would be just obscene.
and I wish you could, but you can't. And when they do something similar to that, there's a game called No Man's Sky, where they created an entire galaxy, all of it, the entire universe, all the different galaxies are in it.
Isn't this that game that you said that people got really angry about?
Yes.
Yeah, because they just ran
Because
out of
they
things
said
to do.
because they were like, you can never finish this game. People were like, we finished it.
Right.
Yeah.
There were some cheats that were involved, and basically people, it was a race to the center of the universe. But what they really said was, you can't explore all the planets.
Yeah, because there's like a quadrillion planets or
Right.
whatever because
And
of
so
random numbers.
basically they created an entire open world concept, and they said the point of the game is just to explore. Yes, you can technically beat or win the game by getting to the center of the universe, but really what we're doing is making a world for you to explore. Well, after about a week, then people were pretty bored with just exploring.
There was nothing else to do. There was nothing else encapsulating them. There's nothing else
Right.
interesting.
There's nothing else driving it. They've now since added more and more updates.
There's no antagonist, no
Right.
challenge.
Exactly. They're now creating more things.
This is something that I think really kind of really propelled Minecraft to like that next level was because they added such a obtuse way to get to the final boss. Like you had to.
I didn't even know there was a final boss.
There is
I
a
don't
final.
know-
There
I
is
know
a,
almost nothing about Minecraft.
so
If you just build.
you can just build things. You can. It's about resource gatherment. You can.
And it's an old school 8-bit looking thing, and the guy's
Right.
made millions of dollars.
Right, I think it's neat looking.
Millions of dollars.
It's crazy because it was such like a strange, just kind of a blank slate of a game that everyone was just like, well, you can do basically anything, and I think
And
that's
then
kind of
people started building like life-size versions of the Enterprise. And,
Yeah.
like, the Black Pearl.
Right,
and-
like weird stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so it like got really intense in that aspect, and they also when they introduced like the final boss, it was an extremely obtuse way to get to him. But once you finally got to him and beat him, it was kind of like this ultimate goal that you could get to. But it was just so like the task to get there was just so impossibly huge. Like you could never think about doing it until you sat down and played for 7 months and died anyways.
Jeez. See, that's too big to me. That's too big.
Well,
But it depends on what you want from a game.
I need something in the middle.
But it depends on what you want from a game, right?
Like, I wanna
because
explore-
one of my favorite games, like I said, SimCity. SimCity 3000 was where when you started with a planet and it said how much water does your planet have, how much land masses, where are your land masses, and you built the city and you tried to make it. And when it's something like that, you can always make it better. Like even these games now,
everything improved.
where it's like, what is it, Clash of Clans?
Yep,
Which is dumb. It's a dumb little game, but like you can always make your town better.
Right.
You can always get more achievements. You can always join other things. There's always a conflict you can find, but the conflict can also always be against yourself, and I like that idea.
To me, like probably the more ideal situation to me is someone can make a game that's somewhere between Skyrim, which is open world, but with missions and goals and things you can do, but you could still end up doing so many different things. You can join one side or another side, or be a thief or a wizard.
That's exactly what I did in Skyrim.
Right. So,
but again, Skyrim, you'll eventually get to the end and literally run out of things to do.
Right. But also, if they combine that with something like No Man's Sky, where yes, every world has its own set of stuff to do, but the idea that you could ever finish it would be impossible. That would be something I think would be amazing. That would be, but we're probably decades away from that.
And do people want it?
I mean, I don't know. Someone will make it, and then we'll find out.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky was built by a team of 6 people, and they built a quadrillion worlds.
They didn't, though.
I mean, they used an algorithm, and they taught the computer the rules of physics and stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of.
And then half the worlds look the same.
Right.
Or just really boring. I think that came
That's
with
probably the universe.
a cool concept, but there's not enough to do in it.
So we definitely took down the energy there, but that's all right. We had a good conversation.
Yeah.
That was excellent, Nico.
It's one of your
better ones.
absolutely.
And you managed to not mention a single anime.
Yeah.
Anime.
Good on you.
So
Too late.
Let's get out of here before he says it again. Nerd Thug Radio. We'll be right back for our final segment. #TalkingNerdy to you.